we are good to roll. Let me see, get the live chat up here. Let's see, Sinfuls is on board already. Yeah, hopefully we get solid internet tonight, that's for sure. So we got, I guess we just got Sinfuls on here so far, so we'll wait and see how many other people we got. I think tonight's gonna be good. So far it's been solid internet. We haven't had any breakdowns in the internet yet. So it should be good. So we should be good to roll. See who else we got on here tonight. Already starting up here. Um, but we got a lot of stuff we can cover tonight. I want to cover tonight. I brought this here to show you guys something. It's kind of cool. It's this here thing here. It's I'll show this again later too. But I know you guys will probably be interested in this. It's got laser on the back of it. It's like a watch that you wear. This here, and it lowered my blood pressure. It actually lowered my blood pressure. I thought you guys might be interested in that. I'll show it again later too. We'll talk about it more later during the show when we get more people on here. Let's see, we got Mark O'Hare on here. Make sure we got all the live chat showing. Okay, we got Dean's on here. What's up, Dean? Mark O'Hare, good morning. Doug Metoyer. Hope all is well in the Philippines. And we got Sinfuls on here. Sinfuls is going to be doing the the moderator tonight, or whatever you call it. Let's see, Michael Ellis, good evening. Winston Herring Jr. Says, hi Steve, nice hat, thanks. Tony Curley says, hello Steve from North Carolina. There we go. I watched I think it was your vice governor the other day. Talking, he's a really nice guy. I like that. I know we usually don't talk politics on here, but I heard that guy speaking a speech, man. That guy's got it together. Ephraim Dunlap. Hey, Steve, good evening. What are your thoughts about those exchange rates? The exchange rates are great. They're almost up around 56, or pretty close. They're like 55 something last I saw. I don't know if it actually touched on 56 yet, but it's really, really close. But my thoughts on the exchange rates are this: that we're gonna go higher. For sure, I think there's people talking about the guy that I know that does forex and stuff like that. He says we're gonna go way higher, and he sends me a lot of stuff. So I talk to him once in a while. He calls me like every couple months and talks to me. So, but he sent me some stuff the other day on Messenger. Let's see, Sinful says Ephraim Dunlap, great exchange rates to buy higher ticket items. Yes, if you got some money sitting aside in dollars. Good time to switch them over to pesos if you're gonna buy something, but it might be worth waiting. But you might miss out on that chance too, because you never know which way it's gonna go. But the guy's saying it's gonna go higher. Terry Phillipson says, "Hey Steve." Let's see, who else we got on here? We got 22 people already, so it's going pretty good. But for you guys that missed it in the beginning, later on we get a few more people. I want to talk about this here thing. I bought it online from Lazada. At first I thought it was going to be like a joke. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was just like a gadget or something like that. And then I had read up about it. It's called cold laser therapy. Supposedly it lowers your blood sugar and your blood pressure and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if you guys heard me talking before about my blood pressure. My blood pressure would not come down even on the pills. So I figured I'd give this a try. And I started giving it a try, and lo and behold, my blood pressure has never gone below 120 over 80. It was always hovering around 120 over 80, which is normal. But when it went up, it would never come back down. When it was like 148 over 100 or something like that, I couldn't get it down with my meds. In fact, I had to double up on my meds. And that thing lowered my blood pressure within like 3 days. And not only did it go down, but it went down 100 over 78, which is phenomenal. It's a little bit lower than that average 120 over 80, but it's not too low either. So it was good. Let's see. Terry Phillipson says, hi, Steve. Willie Shoemaker says, hey, Steve, from Pattaya, Thailand, waiting for my girl from Bacolod to come here and visit before I head back to Seattle in August. Ephraim Dunlap says, how about the rainy season? How does it affect you and yours? Well, it's been thunder and lightning out here tonight a little bit. We got a little bit of rain earlier, but for the most part, it's mostly in the afternoon, and it keeps us in the house after that. In the morning, we're out because it's sunny. We've had times when we've had a month and a half inside when I first got here, but since then we've had mostly dry rainy seasons. This one here seems like it's wetter, like the average rainy season. Every afternoon it rains, so it's kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. And you learn to go to the malls and do what you need to do. And I try to stay busy too. So let's see. KJ says, just wanted to say thanks. Like your show. Thank you. Sinful says, Willie Shoemaker just watching a car show from there at Terminal 21. Let's see. Dean says, will it lower my temper when driving around motorcycles and jeepneys? There you go. Terry Phillips says, Steve, can you connect me with any reasonably priced rentals in Tagaytay as Facebook is no help? Every once in a while I get a rental over there or something, and I did show one a while back, and she's turning it into a bed and breakfast, and it's gonna be a high end bed and breakfast. So that's the problem with that one. It's gonna be like 100 and something a day, but it's a beautiful bed and breakfast. That's the one I showed. It's all white and has a beautiful exterior. But it isn't Tagaytay. But I don't get too many rentals in Tagaytay. If I did get some, I would post them. So if some people, talk to me about that and it's decent enough, I would show them for sure. Because I want to show more rentals. There's not much available lately. Because we have a lot of guys coming in, and as soon as they come up, one come up today, and the guy grabbed it, and he grabbed a one bedroom studio actually over here that I didn't expect to come up, and it did come up, and the guy wasn't gonna rent to expats, and now he did. So Raquel Vargas says, good evening, Steve and everyone. How you doing, Raquel? One Lord News Network. Hey, Steve. Good morning to all. Michael L is on board. About your device, MedCram had a video about near infrared prevents inflammation in mice. Not sure what to think yet. This is not infrared. It's actually laser, according to what it says. They call it cold laser therapy. And you know something? I read all the articles about it, and there's medical journal information. They swear that it works. And I'll tell you something. I believe in it 100% now, because a lot of things it's done for me. And it wasn't just that. It also lowered my blood sugar, fasting blood sugar down to like 92, which it's never been. And I noticed it was 3 days after I started that. So it did do some things in me that weren't happening. They were just kind of always sitting there. My blood pressure was always high. Even though I was taking the medicine, my sugar was a little bit higher. But it took that down. Cholesterol levels went down. Everything went down. And I swear it was that, So again, I'll show it on here again, so for the guys that didn't see it yet. This here is it's a cold laser therapy. And you put it on for about a half an hour. It's got the lights in the back here. It's got 3 lights in the back. You can probably see 2, but there's 3. And stuff's phenomenal. Let's see, get this back up here. Let's see. Ephraim Dunlap says, what suggestions do you have for real good internet? You know something? That's a good question after last week, because we got cut off after 4 minutes last week, Ephraim. My best suggestion is to get a place where you're near a cell tower and use the cell tower. Once you can put it up on the wall and you get your internet from the tower. You can. I guess you can get it monthly too, unlimited. You have to put a load on there or something like that, and you just subscribe to it. I don't know that much about how that stuff works because I don't use it, but it's akin to using like a hotspot, kind of. Only I think it just goes to that thing and just throws it out into the room just like the other Wi-Fi, but there's no wires. So that's the one I would use because it breaks down the least. The other ones, man, they go down. I won't say a lot, but it does go down. I mean, you guys know that sometimes I'm not up, and sometimes that's because of internet here. And we have 2 internets, and usually they both go down at the same time, which makes it even worse. Usually that's because of a wire problem, and it just knocks it down. Guy Diamond says, Capsule Hotel in Quezon City or Azure Hotel? I'm just hearing about this Capsule Hotel in Quezon City. I guess it's kind of cool. I would say try it out. Try out the Capsule Hotel. I've heard those are pretty good. If that's the one that I'm thinking when you sleep in a capsule, I heard about that just recently. So I don't know much about the Azure Hotel. I couldn't say that much about it because I don't know. Sinful says, Ephraim Dunlop, I use Fiber Globe at home, been fast and reliable. Yeah, Globe, I haven't had any, I never used Globe. I've had PLDT, we had problems with it. Now we don't have problems with it sometimes. But then I had Converge and we didn't have problems for the longest time, and now we're starting to see problems with it. You know, you get it, and then all of a sudden you just start having problems with it, with the internet. So, and Dean Thompson says, we use PLD fiber, had no issues yet. Craig Jordan, hello all. How you doing, Craig? Good to see you on here, man. But yeah, as far as internet goes, man, like after last week, you guys got to see what it was like, and we had internet going down, down and up all that night. It was like somebody was playing with a switch or something and just kept shutting it off and on. Dari says, "Hey, Steve, guys, but that's my recommendation for internet. If you want to get good internet, use the, you know, you can buy them at the stores where it is Smart or Globe that they sell, and you can get the best one you can get there, and use that. If you don't want to have, you know, something happen." Sinful says, "Let's not forget to hit this thumbs up, guys." Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. So if you guys have some more questions on it, but I did want to chat a little bit more about that thing. I'm waiting for some more people to get on here. That's the first medical device like that I've ever seen get sold that you can buy through Lazada that actually worked. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to put a commercial out for it, but that lowered my blood pressure for sure, and I know it did. Dean says, thumbs up. Let's see, Michael L. Done. There we go. So we got 16 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. So if you guys are on Lazada, look up cold laser therapy whenever you get a chance, and do your homework on it a little bit too, because it does a lot of things. It's also good for your joints, muscles, arthritis, and for all us retirees over here that are starting to feel stuff like that, back pain, things like that. You can also get one to put on your back. But if you wear that like that, it does something to your blood. It changes your blood is what it does. And the cold laser changes your blood to make it heal. It almost works like acupuncture, similar to acupuncture, you know, so it is kind of cool. So Sinful's asked, what's the cost? It was about $30. I paid about $30 for this one here, and it goes on the back of your wrist. It goes like this here, okay? So let me tell you something. You put it on there for 30 minutes. You don't feel anything, so you don't think that it's doing anything. But when you later on, when you do your blood pressure or whatever, 3 days later, it takes a little while to work, and it does say that. But let me tell you something. I was really pleasantly surprised. Dean says, Steve, can you just say all of us old guys? Okay, old farts, right? All of us old farts, Dean. Fat Max over 50, Texas Filipino, got his Starlink and is bringing it back to Iloilo. You hear anything new about getting one in the Philippines? Yes, they're supposed to have that by the end of the year, I believe, from what I heard, but that's all I know. I've read articles about it. I plan on probably getting one myself, you know, so we'll see what happens. I might get one of the RV ones and put it on the thing outside on the side here and do that. Lizzie Bayot says, the only people that will try to scam an expat is another expat. They always say the taxi stole their ID and luggage. They all say that. I don't know why that's coming up, but okay. I've never had any problems with taxis, to be honest with you. Let's see. Rizal Hassan says, you have girlfriend or wife in the Philippines? I have a girlfriend, okay? Let's see. But also, guys, for all you guys that are members of part of our community here, and I know a lot of you guys are, we're going to be doing a Texas Roadhouse night pretty soon, probably within the next, 2 or 3 weeks. So Gary Burkhardt is on here. Gary's right down the street here. He's one of our local expats here, one of the new expats. Paul Gibson is here from Australia, I think. How is COVID situation and control there? Western Australia has gone from good to, oh no, here we go again. I haven't heard anything here, but I haven't been paying much attention to it because I just got so sick of the COVID thing. I just says, nah, you know. Sinful says, a nice girlfriend. Thanks, Sinfuls. Zane Underwood says, hey, Steve, I was wondering if there's any news for the unvaccinated being allowed into the country. No, I haven't really stayed on top of that, to be honest with you, as far as that goes. I don't think that they're allowed in yet. Tony P says, my family in Bacol has PLDT fiber. Unless, I think if you're under vaccinated, maybe you can come in, but you'd probably have to do some sort of quarantine. But I'm not sure, so don't, count on my information on that because I haven't paid any attention to that at all recently. You know, um, I've actually been having a couple of health issues just recently. I had my cellulitis come back, and I had to go back into the doctors the other day. So I haven't been able to read a lot of stuff lately to stay on top of things. So Tony P says my family in Bacol has PLT fiber connection. Maybe Sinfuls knows about that. Sinfuls, any unvaccinated people getting allowed into the country right now? I don't think any are right now. Not is, but are. Darius says, Lee's, that statement is not absolute. People are people everywhere. Doug Matoyer, getting closer to heading out to the Philippines. The open house to sell my home is this weekend. Should be heading your way soon. Sounds good, Doug. Gary Burkhart, where's the beef? Where's the beef? We actually did a video about that. Where's the beef? Because Filipinos don't like beef here. You can get some beef at some of the places here, but it's not that great. It's not good beef. I've had steaks and stuff from some of the places here, like Walmart, and the steaks were like rubber. They were like a shoe sole. But yet, if you go to the all-you-can-eat steak place at Prime Steakhouse over in Dasma, the steaks are awesome over there. So, Gary, you and I, sometimes we got to go over and get an all-you-can-eat steak over there because they're great over there. Sinful says, I just read the active cases have ticked up, but the levels are to remain the same. Michael L, BA4 and BA5 is a pain in the throat from what I've heard. Okay. Michael L, Dr. Mike Hansen had a video on it. Sinful says, I don't think so at the moment. Unsure. Have not investigated. Okay, so he don't know either, really. Gary Burkhardt says, you got it. Okay. So, yeah, because one of my friends just went there yesterday, I think it was. Either today or yesterday. I was just talking to him outside. I know he said he went over there and he had 3 steaks. That's Randy. He lives in town here. He's one of the expats here. He's just traveling through here, though, so he's probably going to leave, and I'm not sure if he's coming back or not. He sounds like he might at sometime in the future. But Randy's a good guy. He's a southerner. I think he's from Texas or Louisiana or something like that. I'm not sure where. Sinful says, based on what I've read, unvaccinated in Google search from embassy says no. Okay, so it's about the same. Nothing's changed. Diamonds and Legends is on board. We got to talk the other day. Me and Diamonds and Legends a while back, it was a couple weeks back. He's a good guy. He likes to sing. Thomas King says they love that blue paint in the PI. I actually like this blue paint here. It's a good color. I actually had it painted because it was lime, like a lime green color, like a fluorescent lime green, or it was just weird. But it was good. I didn't mind the lime green, but I like the blue much better. Tony P says, Terry Phillips, and you can consider Airbnb and Win Residence in Tagaytay. Okay. Let's see, Zane Underwood. Some of those Airbnbs, Terry, over in Tagaytay that he's mentioned about on the Airbnb, you can rent those for the month for like $300 a month or something. They're like 1 bedrooms or studios and stuff like that. They're like hotel rooms. And they're all furnished too, so they're nice. You may want to check that out. I forgot all about those. Check on Airbnb. I actually, when I was living back home, I rented through an Airbnb, and I ended up talking to the landlord, and they actually rented to me monthly and took it off Airbnb because it was empty some days, and they got tired of dealing with it, so I just rented it off them outright. And I paid them really, a good fee for it. I paid them like $550 a month for just 1 bedroom. That was back in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Now it would probably go for about $700 or $800 a month or more, probably more closer to $1,000. Zane Underwood, I had use of the kitchen and the living room though too, full use of it. And there was other guys that lived there that were always working, so I had full use of the place. Zane Underwood, okay, thanks you guys. I'm still waiting. Zane Underwood says, I want to come over so bad. There we go. Michael says, at least you do not need to get a swab up the nose if you are boosted. That's true. That swab thing really is a pain. So we got 52 people and 24 thumbs up. We're doing pretty good. We have like 100 on here or something like that. Usually by now. We'll see. See, James Nichols says, I'd like to visit the islands before I actually move there. When is the best time to visit for a couple of weeks? Best time to visit is between January 1st and I'll say May 1st. Those are the best times to come over here. You know, if you come in around Christmas times, the tickets are very expensive, but that's a good time to come too. So, Sinful says, unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, and passengers whose vaccination status cannot be verified shall be required to complete a facility-based quarantine at the first port of entry into the Philippines. Okay, so unvaccinated. Okay. I heard that they weren't letting in, this is what I heard, that they weren't going to let in any citizens. That was what I heard. So I don't know. I don't know if maybe that didn't include it or what. So I didn't want to say too much about that, but that's what I had heard. Okay. And this guy's name is Triple X Steve. Hi there. Cheers from Shanghai. Sinful says, regardless of onward domestic destination, ensure to check your first PH arrival airport prior to booking the facility. There we go. Sinful says that is from PAL website. Okay. Thanks for that, Sinful. That's good information. Yoso says, Steve, I've been going through some of your old videos and I'm amazed at your vast knowledge, common sense. As I'm watching, I'm just nodding my head and thinking that you know my situation. Thanks, I appreciate that. Sinfuls gives off the Philippine Airlines website here that brings you to that. So if you guys are looking to understand that, you know, Craig Jordan says, Steve, hello and welcome. He's talking to the Triple X Steve. Joe Cunningham says, hi Steve, how are you doing from Pennsylvania? How you doing, Joe? It's good to have you on here all the time. It's good to see a regular on here. Wayne Bicknell, evening Steve, love your videos in North Georgia mountains, born just south of Boston. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yoso says, I especially like the one where you mentioned that you applied for your military benefits there. Yes, I did. I applied for the VA benefits here. I already had some, but I applied for more and I put in here for stuff. So, and I actually like the clinic here. Some people don't like it because it's just a clinic, but you know what? My problems are not that serious, and for the guys that have really, really serious problems, then and they need medical help, they have to use the FMP, and I'll probably end up using the FMP at some point because I'm gonna have to have something done with my back because my back keeps going in and out, and some mornings I wake up and I can barely walk, and other days I can walk fine. If I can walk it out after like about 2 or 3 hours, and that's one of the reasons why you see me walk in the park. But I haven't been down to the park recently because between the weather and just a lot of expats pouring in here that I've had to help and stuff. So Craig Jordan says Philippine airline fares are $4,000 for a U.S. West Coast for a booking second week of September. That's expensive. That's crazy. Wayne Bicknell, I have a guy coming in September who's one of our regulars here. He lives right near us, and he's going to be staying down the end here. Wayne Bicknell says, love PI, been in Manila and Cebu for work, maybe 25 times, retired now, missed my visits. Dari says, 4,000 for what? That's a ticket, you know. I'm not sure if that's a round trip ticket, though. I tell people just get a one-way ticket and then get a onward ticket to Singapore. Okay, and that way you're safe. Zane Underwood says, thank you, Sinfuls. Sinful says, Wayne Bicknell, I've lived in Cartersville for a while. Sinful says, YW at Zane Underwood. Steve says, Craig Jordan, thanks a lot. Yoso says, aloha from Oahu. Okay, good. We got another guy from Hawaii. We have a lot of people here from Hawaii. Wayne says, Sinfuls lived east of Atlanta for many years, retired from Coca-Cola. Now live east of Blue Ridge on North Carolina state line. Dari says, walking, stretching daily will keep a lot of the aches and pains away. Yes. You know, with my back pain, I don't want to get too much into, pain and stuff like that, because, but that thing that I was talking about, this here, that cold laser therapy, so it has helped a little bit with my pain, I noticed. It's supposed to help with pain and heal aches and pains and joints and stuff like that. By changing something in the blood that makes it heal better. So it does help. I was really kind of amazed that it did that with the blood pressure as much as it did. Darius, let's see, Wayne says, east of Atlanta, Sinful Coca-Cola Museum, says the Coca-Cola Museum is amazing. Diamonds and Legends, gotta be round trip for $4,000. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's expensive. I paid $1,500 for one way from New York, bought in May. Francisco Fletes says, hello from Boracay. Francisco gets around, man. Francisco lives near us, not too far, in a couple towns over, and he's fixing up his house. And he's going to be one of our group once he gets all situated there. But we haven't had a chance to hook up with one of our get-togethers with him yet. Dean Thompson says, Steve, I learned this week that if a military retiree loses their ID or it expires, they have a CAC ID office in Manila, Virginia. In Manila, VA. Okay, all right. I thought it was meant Virginia for some reason, because as soon as I see VA, I say Virginia usually. But yeah, VA clinic up there. Zane Underwood. Hey, Steve, I was wondering if the current events about Shinzo Abe being assassinated, how did that go over with Filipino people? They have pretty close ties to Japan, right? A lot of people just talked about it and they were kind of sad about it. And that's all I heard. I didn't hear much talk about it. There was not much chatter about it here. My girlfriend was talking about it. That was all I heard really, and nobody else really talked about it. The people here don't kind of ignore the news, kind of, which is different than the United States, where everything has to be talked about and torn apart and looked over, and everybody has to look at it sideways, and it just gets kind of crazy back home. But it's not like that here. We don't really talk that much politics. The guys that talk to politics are usually the expats here. Sinful says, Francisco Fletes Boracay, living it well. James Nichols says, we'll be coming in February to Cebu, gonna stay at Airbnb. I appreciate your vlogs, have learned a lot. Thank you, man. Craig Jordan says, as an alternative, Singapore Airlines from Manila to LA is $2,000 for a similar booking, second weekend September. There we go. Robert Kemp, hello from Idaho. Welcome, Idaho. Lazy Larry says, hello, Steve. How you doing, Lazy Larry? Michael L. says, Philippine Airlines is always more expensive than others. Others charge between 5K and 7K US dollars for a business class ticket. Philippine Air charges 10K. I can never see paying $10,000 for any airline ticket anywhere in the world. Not even 5K, to be honest with you. That's crazy. Wayne Bicknell says, I supported the Philippines Coca-Cola bottler finance it for several years. Craig Jordan says, U.S. bound travelers are advised to book 6 months advance for competitive fares. Wow, that's crazy. 6 months now, huh? See, AJ Pat, a lot of guys are paying high prices right now. Everybody I talk to has paid a really high price. Your thoughts of the assassination of the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe? I'm kind of sad about it, I mean, I always kind of liked that guy. I never saw any issues with him like the rest of the politicians out there. He seemed like a kind of a down-to-earth guy, so I don't know what else to say. I mean, Japan's a friend of ours, kind of, and I've always liked Japan. Japan has, when they speak up kind of kindly. They have a different way of doing things, Robert Wanless says, you mentioned in one chat that it's possible to get an exit clearance online. What is that site? That is, Robert, that is for SRRV holders, and you get an exit clearance by talking to either the PRA or your agent that you work with on the SR that you worked with to get your SRRV retirement visa. That's only for that. Okay, and they give you that, and then when you get back, you call them and let them know that you're back. Okay, that's what that is all about. I'm not sure if you have the SRRV. If you do, then you can call the PRA and they'll tell you what to do. And usually they have you send like a email or whatever, and then they send the document back to you and you print it out. Sinful says, I paid $3,800 for business one way from San Francisco to Manila. That's not too bad. It's a little high. It's getting better. Robert Camp says, I've been stuck here since 2019, looking forward to go to Singapore, miss my gal. Dari says, Qantas Airlines, I priced a one-way to Cebu for $1,100. I'm wondering if I were to come now and had to wait a year to activate Social Security, how much of a hassle it is in the Philippines. To activate your Social Security, I believe you can activate it online, or you can go to the Philippine U.S. Embassy and you can do it there. because they have a window for Social Security at the embassy here. A lot of people don't know that. Justin in Arkansas says, howdy from the Ozark Mountains. Justin is one of our members here, and he's coming back in September. And we can't wait till he gets back, because Justin's a big part of our group here. Travis M says, good evening. Edward Flaherty says, I just got my ticket, Denver to Manila on 8/11/22 business class for 3.1K. That's actually not bad. Joe Cunningham says, is Wells Fargo Investments a good company? I don't really know that much about Wells Fargo. I don't know if it would be a good investment company. I would rather recommend, like Charles Schwab or some of those places. There's a lot better ones than Wells Fargo. But that's me. I would say Charles Schwab. I use Ameritrade, which is Charles Schwab also. But a lot of people don't talk. They got bought out by Charles Schwab. Levels of Madness says, Sinfuls, what airlines did you go through? Sinfuls says, he puts an immigration thing on here. I'm not sure what that's about, but I'm sure he's talking to one of the other guys. He's talking to Robert. Craig Jordan says, the conspiracy wackos are hard at work already with the Abe assassination. I'm sure they are. Whenever something goes on in the world now, there's somebody jumps on and has like adds a weird twist to it, and who knows if it's true or not. Sinful. Let's see. Triple X Steve says, we can only fly charter now from China to Germany. Impossible for just holiday reunion with family. James Lonergan is on board here. He says, EVA is doing transfers in Taipei now with no PCR test needed for transfer of passengers through Taipei. I would recommend, if you are not visiting Manila or Luzon, fly into Cebu, way less chaos. Most of the guys that have been coming into Manila have been, and I have to wait for them at the airport a lot of times because they call me and they use PAX. And PAX picks them up at the airport. And most of the time, we're there for about an hour and a half tops. A couple times, we had a plane crash there one time. We had to wait about 6 hours one time, but that was an anomaly. And it was just it wasn't the plane that we were waiting for. It was the plane before it had the front landing gear didn't come down or something like that, so it crashed, had a minor crash. Michael L. says, I use points to get my air tickets. However, that was the cash equivalent. The flat lay-down seat, the lounges, and better food and drink makes business class worth it. Yeah, business class is nice. If you can afford it, and you can bid on some of those tickets too, and sometimes you get them. Francisco says, the PRA travel pass process reminds me of signing out on leave and coming back on leave in the military. Feels like, you know what? It actually is kind of like that. But I don't mind doing that because it's simple. It's very simple. It's just a matter of sending them a email, and that's it. And then sending them an email back, letting them know that you're back in. It's pretty simple. AJ Pat says, thoughts of the recent high inflation in the Philippines. Our inflation here is high. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as high as in the United States, because I think in the United States, some people are saying in some sections of the country, they think it's 30 or 40 or 50%. I'm not sure if it's that high, but I will say this, that in the Philippines, it is picking up here. It is picking up, and that's without any exaggeration. It's not 15 or 20%, but we're seeing things go up little by little. Michael L. says, I see Coca-Cola going up, and Coca-Cola is starting to come back out now a little bit more. But it's kind of touch and go. Sometimes you see a lot of it, and then you see none. Michael L. says, Charles Schwab beats Wells Fargo any day of the week. I'd agree with that statement, Michael. Edward Flaherty says, agreed, Michael. I flew business class when I came to meet my girl in March, and I can't imagine not flying business class. Yeah, business class, if you can do it, that's a big plus. It makes the ride much more comfortable. Man, no seats sitting there for all those hours that you have to sit coming here, man. It's hard. It is hard. Gene Lamb says, howdy, Steve. We'll probably email you soon about the SRR. It's a V. We'll be coming to Philippines around the end of this year. We'll stay in Luzon area for good hospitals when needed. Good day. Yeah, Gene, if you ever need any help, you can always call me. Just send me an email and get my phone number, and we can talk on the phone if you ever need to. Craig Jordan says, if Manila is not the final destination, a traveler is forced to fly with PAL for a trans-Pacific flight. Right? Let's see. Young John says, "Hi, old dog Paul." I don't know who. That's not me. Sean Tobias, new terminal at Clark, much nicer and much quicker. Craig Jordan says, "In theory." Sinful says, "Yes, I bid on my ticket when I came. It saved me money and the cost of the seat and luggage costs due to my 3 bags at 70 pounds." That's good though. If you can, if you can bid on those tickets, always bid. Rather than just go outright and buy those tickets. James Nichols says, "Going through cheapo flights, got a round trip ticket from Texas to Cebu and back for 2,074. That's a steal, James. That's a steal. That's a really, really good deal. Darius says, "The damp weather is exposing the age of your back. Not you, just your back. LOL." Thanks, man. Yeah, my back's pretty aged. But something, the cold laser therapy, I noticed that my pain level is down. And I swear that does work. USA inflation is at 10%. For you guys that are tuning in, I'll show this again. This is a thing that goes on your wrist, and it's got lights in the back. It's cold laser, and I've been using it lately, and it works for it lowered my blood pressure. I know that for sure, because my blood pressure was not moving even with all the pills I was taking, and the doctor says you're probably gonna need more pills if this doesn't work. Well, when I heard that cold laser therapy works for blood pressure, I went and bought a machine. I says, because you can go to physical therapists, and they'll use it for pain on your elbow or whatever. They'll use the cold laser to do the healing of the joints. But this here goes on your wrist and faces in and just does something to your blood that works on helping that. And some people say, well, it's a gimmick. No, it's medically that it medically works. They talk about it. You can look it up. Cold laser therapy. They use it for all kinds of healing things, but now they're starting to realize that it lowers blood pressure. It changes your blood. It's almost akin to using acupuncture. That's what they said. It's kind of like that, only it does some extra added things that acupuncture doesn't. Craig Jordan says U.S. inflation is 10%. Sinful's Craig Jordan, I think that is seriously underreported. I think so too. Yoso says is that the device red light? It's cold laser and it's red. Okay, red light is about half the price on Amazon. It's red light and laser are 2 different things. Okay, and you want the cold. It has to say cold laser, and it's a certain wavelength. You want to read up on it first before you buy it to make sure you're getting the right one. Okay, Tony P says Gene Lam, Cavite, and Batangas are close to Metro Manila as well as to the beaches. Yes. Francisco Fletes says, but the Philippine Central Bank is trying to kill inflation. They raise interest rates 3.5%, not the 0.75% the U.S. is doing. They are trying to crush it. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, it's not too bad over here, but that dollar to peso thing is great for us over here. That's working out really well for some of us. I'm sure Sinfuls would agree with that. See, Sinful says 85 watches, but only 38 thumbs up. Let's hit that, folks. Yusef says, good evening, Steve. How you doing, Yusef? Good to see you on here, man. Craig Jordan, Philippine Info Channel. What areas have been your biggest living costs to date? My biggest living cost, wow. I would say going out to eat, because going out to eat that's a part of our lives for us, for my family anyway. I see costs going up on that. Rides for us to use Pax, it costs more because we use him as a rental car, but the gas has gone up. I would say gas and travel and stuff is the biggest cost, but food has definitely gone up. Yusef says, Savvy Expat says you need about $5,000 a month to live in BGC. That's probably true. I know BGC is expensive, but would you agree with his assessment? I don't think you need $5,000, but it's pretty expensive around here. It's probably about, if you want to live decent there, yeah. In BGC, I would say, yeah, you'd probably need about $4,000 to $5,000. I would say $5,000 would be if you want to be comfortable there. It's expensive living there. There's nothing cheap about BGC. Okay, it's just like living Western lifestyle on a high end. It's a high end place. Gary Burkhart says Philippine Airlines 30 days advance purchase for me was $2,400 round trip from Portland, Oregon. 13-hour flight and a bulkhead seat was easy. Francisco Fleta says, what do you think our VA COLA will be? 10%? I don't think it'll be 10 plus. I'm thinking probably 8.9%, I'm guessing. I mean, I hope it's 10%, Francisco, but I don't see it being that much. Last time we had a big raise, really that big, with Social Security and stuff, and I'm not sure if the VA did it then too, but it was back when Carter was president. I think it was 14.1% or something like that, but I could be wrong. I believe that's what I heard. I think I read that somewhere too. I read so much information sometimes it's just like information overload. Craig Jordan says, Youssef, I think that is very high end living for BGC. I don't know. I know it's hot. It's very expensive to live there. I've heard people living there for 3,000 and making it, but they said it was kind of hard and they moved out. So that'll give you like a kind of a little bit of an assessment. One of the guys I was talking to, he said it was about 3,000 he was staying there, and he says he didn't have enough to make it. So I don't know what he was living in. I believe he had a 2-bedroom apartment or something like that, but I could be wrong on that. JD, realizing with my SRV, it's really nice. I don't have to visit immigration every month and pay. Just pay once a year to the PRA. Yes, that is really I love the SRV retirement visa. I mean, you guys know that. That's why I push it. Gary Burkhardt says plus ability to move ticket date. Youssef says Craig Jordan. It made me curious. Darius says I agree, Craig. 2,500 to 3,000 is more like it. Let's see. James Lonergan says all of you first timers to come pack Imodium. Yes, I actually bought a box of 100 about a month ago, and I'm almost through it because I take it with some of my medicine too. So that's why I take it. But also because of the prime reason that you get sick here sometimes. Tony P. Yes, 5K on OKBGC is very high. You can get a studio condo on BGC for 35,000. Okay, so there you go. It's the other stuff that gets expensive in there. Even the supermarkets are expensive in there. But yeah, if you just got a studio or something like that, you could live there. But I think this guy had a 1 or 2 bedroom, and I think it was in a high end place. And he said it was just got too expensive. Most of the places in there are high end. Dari, there are places close to there that are even cheaper. Yes, and it's if you look around, if you're right on the edge, the peripheral edges of BGC, you can get cheaper. There's a lot of places in Manila that are still nice, that you can get a nice apartment in there for cheap money and still live in a nice high-end place. Gene Lamb says, Tony P, yes, I'm thinking about those places. Lupus already, thanks Tony. Payday 1 says, this is Ronnie and Johnny. Go Steve, go. Thanks, Ronnie and Johnny. I can't wait to see you guys again. We don't see you anymore since you moved. Hoping we'll see you soon. Sinful says, having your truck towed home is costly. LOL. Yeah, Sinful's had his truck towed, and it was very costly. He told me the cost. It was very expensive. I've never actually seen a tow truck here, to be honest with you, except once and it was a bus tow truck. So I don't even know how they would tow you. I've never seen one. So I'd love to see a tow truck in the Philippines. That's got to be something, a sight to behold. Craig Jordan Youssef says, I was in BGC this week, and it is expensive and going up, but 5,000 a month is high living. Okay, it's good to know, because I'm not that familiar with that place. I just go by what people tell me. And the guy was making about 3,000. He said he was moving out because he just found food and everything there too expensive. Now maybe he wanted to get down to a lower level. See, I live here and I live on a little bit over 3,000. And let me tell you something. I live happily here. I live decent. But I send my daughter to school and stuff like that, and I help other people. Francisco Fletes says, I rarely spend more than $3K per month. Rarely. I've lived in BGC for 3 years. I save it. Let's see. Francisco, let me ask you a question since we were on the subject then. You said you rarely spend more than $3K per month. Were you living in a 2-bedroom or something up there? And were you living right in BGC or on the edges of BGC where it starts getting cheaper? If you could kind of fill us in a little bit more about that. Like do you find food expensive? Because that's what I hear from all the guys that have been up there. I've heard from a few people, and they always say it is expensive living there. Gary Burkhardt See, for me, I think of anywhere in Manila is fairly expensive anyway, because the price does go up there for rentals and costs and everything. Gary Burkhardt says 89 a month rent. Says what, inflation? Um, yeah, here if you're paying like where we live, it's like 80, 60, 80, or 100 for rents for one bedrooms here. And there's one bedroom over near Gary. I believe it's like 140 or 160, but it's a higher end place. It's nice. It's all partially furnished. It's a gorgeous apartment and it's big. It's a big one bedroom, so it's kind of comfortable there, and it has nice cabinets, nice paint. The bathroom is nice and everything. Gary's got a nice one over there too that he just fixed up, and he got that for about 100 a month. And it's a steal, either 80 or I think it was 80 or 100. I think he paid 100. Gene Lamb, sorry about that extra word. You know how Google is, and they add and take away words in your paragraphs. JD says there are round trips from Manila to LA or Newark for around 2,200 as long as you buy ahead of time. But how can the leg from Japan to Newark be only 14 hours? Do they go up over the Arctic? Yes, they do. Yep, because I remember when I went, they flew up over the Arctic down into China, and then we stopped in Peking, and then I went down to Manila. So some of those airlines say yes, they do that. Sinful says Youssef, he was saying the 5K was for the full Western lifestyle with regular massage and spa visits, but he said 3K would suffice. Okay, I gotcha. Yusuf says, Craig Jordan, okay, thank you. Blue Dale says, weather alert in Ireland, UK this weekend could hit by 40 for first time weather alert earlier, so how could we live there where it's normal? I'm not sure what you're trying to get at, Blue Dale. Weather alert. I don't know. I don't know what the question is. Maybe I'm just misreading it or something. Tony P says there is an area across the Pasig River opposite BGC. There are nice condos there for cheap. Okay, it's good to know. If you guys look around and you shop around some of these Airbnbs, and you can rent them for a month, and you can get them all furnished for cheap money sometimes in some of these places, and it might not be the fanciest building and stuff like that, but you live in a nice Airbnb and it's comfortable inside. The people around you are usually pretty decent. Usually you have a pool too, and they're pretty reasonable. And Yusef says, if it costs that much for me to get away from my ex-wife, so be it. There we go. Okay. Gene Lamb, Tony P, there's extra word lupus in my paragraph. Google's fault. Okay. I was wondering why that was in there, Gene. I was like, okay, what's that all about, the lupus? I thought you had lupus or something. I'm sorry. Craig Jordan, thank God you don't. Craig Jordan says, a relative has just rented a 3-bedroom condo for $35,000 a month in BGC. That's a good deal, Craig. That's an excellent deal. I wonder if it's in a really nice, fancy place, or if it's one of the ones on the peripheral edge. Craig Jordan says, gated community. Franz says, hello from Switzerland. How you doing, Franz? Good to see you on here. Sinful says, payday one. Hi, guys. Mark Richards says, are you friends with the channel to Philippine Antics with Heidi and her husband? Are you friends with the channel? We're not really friends. Like, we don't talk, or I haven't talked to them on the phone or anything like that. But I like their channel. I have no problem with that channel at all. I think they're nice people. I think they're very kind people, and I think they run a good channel. And I applaud people that run a good, clean channel, and they do run a good, clean channel. I mean, they're an up and coming channel for sure, because she's not a Filipina. She's an American, and he's Filipino, which is kind of the opposite of what we usually see here. And I really applaud them for that. I think that's kind of cool. We've chatted like very little, like in comments and stuff like that, and that's about it. I know they pushed my channel too. They actually enjoy my channel, and I do watch their channel on occasion when I get a chance, but I don't get much time to watch other channels. But I do tune into them once in a while. So, and I'm glad that they do watch our channel and push our channel. And I have, after seeing their channel, they're a good channel. They're pretty informative on something. They're a little bit different and quirky and stuff, but they kind of make it fun, and that's what we're all about here. To make the channel fun too. So, Travis M says a lot of people only look for flight options for their final destination. Sometimes you can book a trip around Bangkok cheaper than round trip from Bangkok or wherever for your final destination. Okay, AJ Pat says thoughts about the ongoing crisis in Sri Lanka. Their former president Paksa says or just fled rather to Singapore after protesters stormed and vandalized the presidential palace in Colombo. I think that's they're under total anarchy there right now. I really believe that, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get that back. I know China's got their fingers in there. China has something going on in there. I don't know if it's a base or what it is or a port. I'm sure they're going to try to protect that port, and they may try to step in there. The question is, who else is going to look after that country now? I'm not sure if India will go in there. It might be a good idea to get India involved in that and get down there to stop it before China does. That's just my thoughts on it. I mean, it doesn't have much to do with the Philippines. I don't think it'll affect us over here, but it's definitely a huge problem for the world when a country collapses and goes into anarchy, and I could see at some point in the future that happening in a few other countries, the way the world's going. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the world today. I wouldn't even want to venture to think what could happen, because there's so much going on in the world. Travis M says, look at major hubs. Triple X Steve says, is it possible to live on a sailing yacht in a marina somewhere in Luzon? Yes. They have marinas here. There's some in Manila. Some of the other places have them too. I'm sure Batangas probably has them, but I'm not sure. And I know Cebu has them. I think Cebu does. I know there's a lot of places. Iloilo probably does. They're around. You can find them. Sinful says it was a flatbed truck with a winch. Blue Dale says heat alert UK. Okay, hit 40 degrees this week and crippled both countries. So how can we live there where it's normal? Yeah, I don't know. 40 degrees, man, that's pretty hot. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. When I think of 40 degrees, when I think of 40 degrees, I think of 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sure you're talking Celsius, but I mean that's crazy. Well, that's hot. When you come over here though, where we live in Tracy, Montana, it gets hot. We get a lot of humidity here right now, and it's not comfortable. We have to have the AC running all the time and stuff. But I mean, during the dry season here, we actually get a cool breeze blowing across where I am right here, and I'm sure anybody that has sat here will vouch for me on that. It gets nice and cool here. You get nice cool breezes. It's still hot, but it's cooler than Manila and all the other places, and you get a good breeze that takes kind of that heat off you. Tony P says, Blue Dale, it does not get 40 degrees in Manila. No, it never gets. He's talking Celsius, I think, Tony P. And Michael says 40 degrees Celsius is 104 Fahrenheit. That's pretty hot, man. If that's true, I don't think I can't see it getting that hot in Ireland and England. I've been to England and Ireland. I've never even heard of it getting that hot. Dari says they are going to raise the interest rate again in an attempt to control inflation. My thought is that it'll level off prices, will stay fixed at a higher rate, keeping prices a bit higher. Sinful says the exchange rate is great for my rent, lowering it down. Yeah, definitely the exchange rate is pretty awesome here. I mean, we're doing pretty good here. Michael L says it's actually an hour longer now since Vladivostok corridor is closed and all airlines using the Anchorage corridor. AZ says, what health insurance do you use? I use Pacific Cross, and I really like it. But I am thinking about switching to a much higher end one, and I'll probably still use Pacific Cross, but I'm going to get a different plan when I hit 60 or 62. I'm looking at it now, so I do like, if you guys are looking for insurance, first go to Pacific Prime, which is a brokerage firm, and they'll give you 10 different quotes. But don't tell me you want $1 million worth of insurance. Tell me you want $500,000, because otherwise you're just going overboard, and you're never going to use $1 million worth of insurance, and you'll get cheaper insurance. You'll get something more to your liking here, because you just don't need $1 million coverage over here. Get $500,000, I would say, and then ask them for the prices on that, and make sure that you check everything on it. Tell them what you need. If you want dialysis on it, because some of them don't have dialysis coverage, so just make sure you have everything you need on there, because some of them can get costly. And if you're trying to keep costs down, you're going to have to kick out some things like kidney dialysis and stuff. And, you have to really take a look at that. AZ says, let's see, Paul Z says, 1,600 US dollars, Vancouver to Manila, nonstop drive. That's a good deal. Sinful says, Blue Dale is talking about a high of 40 Celsius. He's asking what is normal temperature here, which is like 29 to 30 Celsius. Yeah, it's about right in there during the hot days. If you put your AC on 27 and it takes the humidity out of the air here, it's usually pretty good. Sinfuls knows that. Put it on about 26, 27, and you get used to it a little bit better. I keep mine low because I like it low, and I like sleeping better at night with the low temperature. Blue Dale says, okay, weather has never hit 40 degrees before here, but it has now and is crippling us. Okay, I gotcha. I think I heard something about that. I didn't hear everything. I heard like a blip about it. Dari says, I wonder if the savvy business people in the Philippines, the bigger cities, will adjust prices to reflect the higher exchange rates. No, I don't think so. I don't think that, unless they're buying Western goods, I don't know. It's hard to say, could go either way. It depends. If they might where there's a lot of expats, just so they can catch some of that extra cash. Francisco Fleta says 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 38,000 rent per month, 10% of VA pension. Lived on outskirts right near Venice Mall. Venice Mall is nice. McKinley Hill, I know right where that is. That's right where the cemetery is, and the Venice Mall. What's shot up is energy costs. Meralco bill fluctuates a lot. But 3K is tight. Yeah, 3K. Everybody tells me that it can be a little expensive in there for that budget. Maybe 4 or 5. Blue Dale says thanks, Sinful. Sinful says not related, but my dog's birthday today. She is 9. One in my avatar. LOL. Okay. Diamonds and Legends says, I downloaded Western Union app on my phone, tried to send $75 to someone in Kansas, and the charge was $17. I won't be using it again. Diamonds and Legends, let me just tip you on this, that when you send in US, it's more expensive than sending international. Okay, so that's why you get that big charge. It's not that high when you send it to like a bank. Sometimes it's as low as like 99 cents for me to do transfers. So don't go off that, and put Remitly on there too. Remitly is actually a little bit better. Okay, so Diamonds and Legends, don't go by domestic transfers. When you do international transfers, it's a totally different ball game. So just FYI on that. Francisco Fletes says, I'm moving to Saline to the new house just because I want a calmer lifestyle away from the city and cooler climate. I originally moved from Honolulu to Manila. Now I'm looking at peace and quiet. Yes, definitely as you move to this area, I think we get a lot more, I wouldn't call it more peaceful, but it's definitely better. My place where I live, it's pretty decent here. I love it here. Michael says, Sri Lanka fell victim to Chinese debt diplomacy trap. Yes, definitely they did. Because that's all tied into China. I think this could be a Chinese takeover, to be honest with you, of Sri Lanka at least. Possibly more later, who knows with China, you just don't know. Craig Jordan says, Sri Lanka is India's sphere. I hope they take it over. I hope India goes in there and takes it over and then tries to get it back to normal. Tony P says, Francisco Salangas, good location, cool weather. Michael L, they foreclosed on loan in Colombo Port and it is now a PLA Navy base. Okay, so there we go. So that kind of explains that. India won't be going in there anytime. Paul Z says, China lent money to Sri Lanka to build the port they didn't need. When they defaulted on the loan, China took over the port. Chud says, Paul Z, that's what I call predatory lending. Yes, definitely. Yiftak Dory says, I love your channel. I'm looking into Medicare now. I found Plan F that covers you overseas as well. I'll do more research to see if it is good for travel and also for expats. You may want to double check on it, and also watch Grandpa Vlogger. I love this guy. Grandpa Vlogger puts a lot of effort into the Medicare and Medicaid stuff, and he's really, really good at what he does on stuff like that. I love the guy. I give him a lot of credit because he does a lot of homework. He must be reading constantly because some of the stuff that he puts out is phenomenal. I mean, we do some good stuff on this channel too, but I mean, he is a really, really good vlogger. I must say that, on the stuff that he does, because he really has to read through a lot of red tape and understand all that stuff. And he goes through it all and tears it down and tells you, everything about everything. Blue Dale says, yes, 40 Celsius. Blue Dale, it's coming in from North Africa. That's interesting. Blue Dale, that's high. 100 degrees in London. I can't even imagine in Ireland. Tony P, yes, Steve. Tracy Martinez from December to February is cool. Yes. It even gets better going towards Tagaytay. Yes, it does. Right where I live in Tracy Martinez, we get the canyon down back. It drops down 100 feet. And it's cool down there. So the air dips down there as it blows across, and it picks some of that coolness up down in the valley down there in the canyon. Sinful says, I took 500K US dollar coverage with prior health issues, and it cost me $18.50 for the year. That's actually an excellent deal. Craig Jordan, the heat index is the temperature measurement that matters the most. Yes. To get back to what Sinful says, I'm probably going to end up going with Pacific Cross to get the 500K. I'm going to see what that costs. I'm going to talk to them soon. But you do have to wait a year for it to kick in. So I might have to keep my old Pacific Cross policy for a year and then have the other one and be paying both of them, unfortunately. So they wait a year to iron out any pre-existing conditions. Greg says, in the Versailles, the heat index fall within a range of 95 to 105 degrees daily. It gets like that around here some days too with the humidity here. Yoso says, thought I heard that if invalidated, you could get one of the tests and a 5-day quarantine. I'm not sure about that. You could look at that thing that he was talking about earlier that Sinfuls was talking about, and if you're talking about the shots, go back to that thing that Sinfuls put up, and you can go on there and look at that. Michael says Westpac WX is a good source of weather information for the Philippines. I just have the Weather Channel on there on my phone, and that's pretty good. It's a good app. Tony P says, here, run your AC on cool mode at 21 degrees Celsius. After 10 minutes, switch to dry mode. It will save you a lot of electricity. That's good to know. Yeah, as long as you have the dryness in here, it feels cooler. Darius says, Craig, I live in deep south U.S. It's been in the high 90s with heat index up to 105 heat index for the past 2 months. Gary Burkhardt says, $4.99 Western Union to PI. Yes. Gary, I don't know what his difference is, because sometimes there's one of them there for 99 cents if you go from bank to bank. And Remitly's really cheap too. Remitly has some really good deals, for shipping money, and you can either pick it up or send it to your bank or whatever. I like Remitly better than Western Union, because Western Union recently, for some reason, locked up my account. I keep calling them, and I don't get the Filipino people anymore. I get some Pakistani people that answer the phone. And they don't want to work with you. They don't really care. They just tell you that they can't fix it. And I'm like, okay, then I won't use you. And I used to get a lot of help from them, but they don't want to work with you. Michael L. says, India will contest with China for Sri Lanka. Yeah, I'm hoping that India gets it. Francisco Fleta says, use Wise or Remitly or World Remit, much better than Western Union. Yeah, I agree. I'm beginning to like Remitly more than Western Union. Brooke Snyder, he's one of the expats here. He loves using Wise. He has a card and he uses that. And when he goes into the store, he uses like a credit card, or he can go up and get money. Darius says, I'm ready for the heat in the Philippines. Humidity is most likely higher here from what I'm hearing. JH says, don't use Western Union. I sent money to a friend in Jamaica and somehow a stranger picked it up in Manila. Western Union said it wasn't a scam and wouldn't refund it. I don't know how that could happen, JH, because usually you have to put down the country code, and they can only pick it up in that country. But I don't know, maybe you made a mistake or something. Craig Jordan, Dari, It's not fun to live in weather like that. Diamonds and Legends says I was a one-time thing. End of month. I will. It was a one-time thing. End of month. I will try my Philippines with Western Union. Yeah, you could. I would switch to Remitly. Western Union, when you get here and you ship money to an international country, it's different. Yeah, when you do it in the U.S., totally different ballpark. You'd think it would be cheaper in the U.S., but it's more expensive. Sinful says Tony P Prime is set for 27C and very cool. Wait, I said Tony P. Mine is set for 27. I was talking about the AC. 27C and very cool. Yeah, 27 is not that bad. I set mine on 18. Um, mine works overtime in here because I leave the door open out to the living room a lot because there's no AC in the living room. I make it kind of do the AC out here too, but it's only 1 horsepower, so it works overtime. But it has a thing that you can put it on super high, and it works. It will cool the whole house down pretty good. AJ Pat says China's lending of money that happened to Sri Lanka is the same thing that's happening in Africa and onto the Pacific Island. I agree. I was watching 60 Minutes about that. That's true. Carl Smith says Sri Lanka was the first stop in the communist globalist Green New Deal road, just like they are implementing in the Netherlands now. It's Stalin's collective farming all over. Kaparn says Blue Dale, it's not until Tuesday that it will reach 40 degrees in the UK. It's only been up to about 32 degrees so far this year. Ted LaSalvia, good morning from San Diego, California. Morning. That's where I went to cook school there, on the Navy base there. That was a long time ago. 40 something years ago. Craig Jordan, Ted DeSalvia, good morning. Triple X Steve says Wise is really nice. Yeah, Wise is good. I like Remitly now. Since I switched to Remitly, I find it really easy and I like it. JH says country was clearly listed, was a scammer in PI. Okay, interesting. William, 102 yesterday in Meridian, Idaho. AC died. Will be 101 today. Man, that's rough, man. I hope you get a hold of an AC there, or you fix the one that you have. Sinful says AJ Pat, yes, the Belt and Road Death Plan. Yeah, that's basically what it is, especially with the Pacific Island nations like the Solomon Islands. Michael L says, what does it take to get central air conditioning in the Philippines? We have a guy right down the street here, and he puts them in for almost all the expats. But I would say about 80% of the guys use them. He's really, really good with us. He treats us really good, and he services and everything. We'd like to keep the guys around here, working around here, and he's just a nice guy, just a regular guy, and he comes out and fixes things if something, and cleans it too. Let me see, Tony P. Here we use the factor 14 to compute how much HP AC you need for the room. So for a 14 square meter area, you probably need 1 horsepower AC. Yeah, we use our air conditioner. It's a workhorse. Let's put it that way. It's like the way they use the tricycles here. I use my air conditioner like that. It's a workhorse. They use the tricycles here like a truck. I use my air conditioner like a 2 horsepower rather than a 1 horsepower. Gary Burkhardt says 32nd Street Naval Station. LOL. There we go. Robert Camp says you missed my earlier comment. I just found a flight on Alaska and EVA for $773 to Cebu. That's a good deal from Alaska. But most of the prices the people are giving on here aren't from Alaska. They're from like the lower 48. Alaska is actually pretty close to the Philippines. Flight of Icarus says you don't want central AC, Michael L. The mini split are far more efficient. Yes, definitely. The mini splits are pretty decent. And can be multi-zone for an entire home. Let's see. Robert Camp says one way. Gary who was just talking on here. He said, he has a 1 bedroom, and he put one horsepower AC in the bedroom and 1 horsepower out in the living room, and he put splits in there, and that's a really nice way of doing it. Actually, I'm thinking about putting the same thing in here soon, so we have AC in the living room here, which we can actually use here, and it'd be nice having that. Let's see. Robert Kemp says one way. Hello from MP says hello from Nagab Cole. We're We're a Canadian Filipino family living in the Philippines for a year. Welcome aboard. Ted DeSalvia says, good to hear a bit about your history. Yes, San Diego is a military town, both Navy and Marine Corps. I was born here on Camp Pendleton. Want to go to the Philippines 50 years ago with my father. Oh, went to go to the Philippines 50 years ago with my father. That's cool. Flight of Icarus says, hello from Cebu. Here, by the way, been living here 2 months now. Good to see you living here, man. That's good. I like hearing these people's stories, like when they tell me that they've made it here and they're happy and stuff, because so many people are fighting to get over here, and when they get here, they finally see how good it is. It's the underfunded ones I worry about, you know. But when I see them successful, that nothing makes me happier than that. And you know, and that's one of the things that we do in our group here, is to help new expats here just get adjusted. And it's great having other expats around that you can talk to and ask questions. And most of the guys that come into our group, they ask a lot of questions, and you know, it's good to have that help there, because you know, when I was coming over here, I didn't have that benefit. The people that did help me, like with the SRV, like Mary Rose and stuff, still stay, like Mary Rose is one of our greatest assets probably in our group. But we've built up our group of assets here in the at the Philippine Info Channel and in our community, and we use these people because they're a big asset. The Filipinos that we have in our group, you know, and the expats also, because they help other expats here too. A lot of expats that I've helped, I just ask them to pass it along and help other expats, and some of them, they'll go out and take expats around and show them around or whatever, and it's really, really good that they do that. And it saves them, money from hiring somebody to show them what to do or whatever. Lloyd White, good morning, Steve. Are there Airbnb units available in your neighborhood? Not in my neighborhood, no, there's not. Are there any close by? I know there's one in Tracy, but I don't know that much about it. Airbnbs are not really that popular around here. I wish they were in Tracy, but you can get rentals here so cheap that it doesn't take much. Especially if you're gonna stay here long term, just throw an AC in there and some furniture, or you can try to get a furnished one if you can find them. And the furnished ones are hard to find. Gary Burkhouse says, excellent AC in Tracy. Let's see. He just got his AC in there, brand new. So he's got a nice little place. So he bought some really nice furniture too. I was over there the other day. I saw it. Sinful says, I have a 1.5 horsepower split in my bedroom and another in my TV room. Tony P says, Michael, we don't recommend central air for homes here. If your space outside is tight, you can have a multi-split, one external unit and for 2 internal units. Sinful says, keeps whole house cool. Ted LaSalvia, I love the information you provide on your channel. I'm also thinking of the expat life. Once I get to retirement age, I look forward to your next video. See, I'm getting somebody. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't want somebody to call me because it'll mess this up. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Sinful says, if you have not hit the thumbs up, please do. Thanks. Joseph says, good. Let's see, we're at the end here. I think we're going to end it early tonight, guys. We're up to 73 minutes, and I'll answer a few more, and then we'll call it a night, okay? Because we're up to 73 minutes. We usually end at 90, but I'm at the end of the string here. So the real Rita Magdalena says, good morning, Steve. How's the rainy days going? We can't wait for next year. Martin Harvey says, I'm sitting in my garden just outside London after returning from the Philippines on Thursday. After a 6-mile run, it's nowhere near as hot here as the pH. Glutching my new SRV. Hey, congratulations, Martin. Joseph Banya says, good to see you. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, we're going to end it right here, and we'll be on here next week. And remember, guys, if you ever don't see me on here, it's either something has come up and or the internet's gone down. And it's usually our internet for some reason. On Saturday nights, it gets very, very glitchy. And tonight, we've been lucky enough to have a really good show tonight. And I want to thank all you guys. We got 92 people and 78 thumbs up. And it's great to see that on here. And so thank you guys. And thanks to Sinfuls for helping us out. and for moderating everything on here tonight. And that's a great help on here always. But God bless, guys, and thank you for everything. And we will be on here next week if nothing happens, or if, but there's not like a 90% chance I'll be on here. Like I said, unless the internet goes down, or I have something that comes up or something like that. But usually I'm on here. But God bless, guys. Take care.